To be in the US, but we're back here in the country focusing on the Ruto state visit. What's the latest in terms of the developments?
Well, thank you very much, Jesse, and definitely we are back here. We're at home. We didn't travel to the US in a private jet, but we're here, and we're here to do that business that concerns the political arena in the country. And of course, some of those top activities that took the public opinion and of course the center stage in the world of politics was that trip by President William Ruto to the US. It was a historic trip because it was a state visit, the first one since Mwai Kibaki, the retired president, the late Mwai Kibaki, traveled to the US in 2003, and we had that visit coming up just a week ago when President William Ruto made that maiden trip to the US in that state visit. And of course, a lot of goodies, a basket of goodies that have been termed to have come from that trip, starting with that expressway from here to Mombasa, about 472 billion shillings that the US had promised to fund that expressway, because Kenyans will have to pay to use it once it is complete, and a lot of other issues, including the Kenya being designated or waiting to be designated as a non-NATO ally in the sub-Saharan area or region. And of course, a lot has been said about the cost of that trip. We did a story actually was done by yours truly here about the 200 million shilling jet that President William Ruto hired from Abu Dhabi all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, and he just came back with it last evening. And a lot of questions were asked whether we are actually preaching water and drinking wine, as to whether the cost-benefit analysis was equal to it, and whether our PR organization or PR people who are around the president were right to allow him to use that jet instead of just chartering a Kenya Airways flight or a local flight here in Kenya. But that is subject to discussion. But we saw a lot of goodies coming from that trip. But many have said that it was just a promissory note that needs to be interviewed or rather interrogated to find what US is benefiting. The US is benefiting from that trip and what they're getting from Kenya. Something else that also took the headlines was that Rigathi Gachagua issue, that it seems that the number 2 is under siege. And he says the people who are making or bringing problems to him are the president's people. Some of the henchmen around the president are trying to interfere with the politics of the Mount Kenya region. And today, there are 2 services, church services happening in Uasin Gishu County. One by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and another one by a host of almost 50 members of parliament and governors who are also assembling in another constituency in the same county. We wait to see some fireworks from that place. And of course, some of the questions that are coming up is Rigathi Gachagua going to be the next the second in command in 2027? We wait to see whether that we'll be getting some answers from the panel that you have right there. And of course, something else that also captured the highlights was the Finance Bill 2024. And Busia Senator Okiya Mtata is at it again. Remember, he's a serial litigant. And last year, he went to court about the Finance Bill 2023. He didn't make it. It became law. And we wait to see whether he will succeed this time round. Remember, that bill is proposing a lot of taxes, a raft of measures, including increasing the tax on bread by 16%. There are also taxes on vehicles, and we wait to see whether the courts will listen to him this time round. This week, we're also having this Madaraka Day celebrations that are happening in Bungoma County in Masinde Muliro Stadium. So a lot to watch out for. And in the second hour of this show, we'll be discussing or talking to Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni to explain to us about the rumbling in the Mount Kenya region and what Rigathi Gachagua is going through, and what, in his own opinion, is the cause and the solution for that problem. Jesse, that is the match we had for this week. I hope it will be forming a very serious discussion in your panel today.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for that. And of course, we'll be referring to your story on the 200 million hustler jet a little bit later on, looking at the return on investment vis-a-vis the cost. Kenyan taxpayers had to incur in terms of that particular trip. Thanks for that breakdown, Emmanuel. To a little bit later on, he'll be joining us with a conversation